Hi, everyone. My name's Ethan. I was in a coma for almost 2 years. It was an incredible experience. I had gone on a field trip to a large cave organized by my school's science club. There were 15 students in our group, along with 2 teachers. Inside the cave, someone pushed me into a crevasse. I fell from a height of 20 feet. All I remember from that day is entering the cave. I have no other memories. In situations like this, our brain can erase our memories so we can overcome the trauma. If we remember the moment of the trauma, we can end up experiencing it over and over. This is why I couldn't remember who pushed me. But after going through incredible experiences while in a coma, I figured out who it was. Coma is actually one of the methods the body uses to heal itself. When the body suffers extensive damage, brain activity gets reduced and the person falls into an extremely deep sleep. When we go into a coma, the body doesn't deal with anything else. It focuses only on repairing the damage. This process can sometimes take months or even years. In the beginning, I was completely unconscious. I don't know how much time passed, but after a while, I began hearing what was being said in the room. The first voice I heard was my mom's. She was talking to me as if I wasn't in a coma. My brother had won first place in a chess tournament. She was telling me everything about it. I wanted to open my eyes and say, "Mom, I hear you," but I couldn't. My brain wouldn't let me open my eyes or say anything at that time. Other people came to visit me as well. My dad and my brother would visit often, and sometimes my best friend Kyle. He had also been on that field trip with me. It was from my mom's conversations with Kyle that I found out that I fell while inside the cave. Kyle kept saying if I'd been there with him at that moment, maybe he wouldn't have fallen. Kyle is my best friend. We are super close. He knows all my secrets, and I know all of his. After his father died, his mom married a super wealthy guy. Unfortunately, him and Kyle don't get along, so he'd often come over to our place. Spending all that time together cemented our friendship. What made me really sad was that my girlfriend Daisy never visited me. I was head over heels in love with her. When I first asked her out, she didn't want to go out with me, but I wouldn't take no for an answer until she finally agreed. I thought, if she's not coming to visit me, I guess she doesn't have any feelings for me. Maybe she's happy she doesn't have to deal with me anymore. Suddenly, I had this funny idea. If Daisy really wanted to get rid of me, is it possible that she made me fall? Maybe my fall wasn't an accident. Maybe someone had pushed me. Such a possibility had never occurred to me. This was the first time I was thinking about this. One day, I had a dream in which I saw Daisy's ex-boyfriend, Yael. He was in his room. He was texting with Daisy and laughing at every message she sent him. Yael was also in the cave with us that day. I had an epiphany. Could Yael be jealous of our relationship with Daisy? Maybe he still loved Daisy and, in a moment of rage, pushed me down. Or maybe he and Daisy were in this together. After a while, I saw Daisy in my dream. She was eating dinner with her family. Her phone was blowing up with messages, and she was immediately replying to them. Finally, her mom said, "Why don't you eat your food? Who is that, Yael again?" This dream was almost like a sequel to the earlier one. This was the first time I was having such dreams. The following day, I dreamed of our own house. My mom and brother were in my room. My brother was holding his chess trophy. He put the trophy down on my desk. He said, "This is my gift to my brother. I hope he recovers soon and comes back home to see it." Mom hugged him and started crying. It was such a realistic dream that I cried with them inside the dream. I was allowed 1 visit per week. My mom would come early and stay with me until visiting hours were over. That day, as always, she held my hand. Then, suddenly she started crying. "Your brother gifted you his chess trophy. That trophy is now waiting for you on your desk. Come on, come back to us and see your trophy," she said. That moment was a huge shock for me. Were the things I was dreaming of actually real? If what I saw about my mom and my brother was real, did that mean the dreams about Daisy and Yael were real too? After my recovery, I would find out that this was a metaphysical phenomenon called astral travel. In fact, I wasn't really dreaming. My body would stay in the hospital while my soul was traveling to other places. According to experts, this could only be experienced in the space between sleep and wakefulness. The most important part is that you can't force it. It can only happen on its own. The third time I had one of these experiences, I went to the house of one of the teachers who was with us on that field trip. There were bottles lying around and he looked really drunk. The teacher kept saying, "It was my fault. It was my fault," and crying inconsolably. Now I knew these weren't just dreams. When I woke up, I thought, he's clearly feeling guilty. I wonder if my fall was really his fault. The plot was getting thicker. Was my fall an accident? Or had someone pushed me? And if so, who was it? A few days later, I had another dream. This time, it was about my friend Kyle. He was in his stepfather's office. The stepfather was yelling, "You idiot! You couldn't even pull off something so simple." Kyle got angry and told him, "You know I did my best. What else could I have done?" When his stepfather said, "Don't you raise your voice or you will never see your mom or your sister again," Kyle just lowered his eyes. I didn't know what they were talking about. What was it that Kyle couldn't pull off? Why was his stepfather threatening him? Did this have anything to do with me? There were so many questions in my head, but I didn't have any answers. But I was still sure that it wasn't Kyle who pushed me down. My best friend would never do such a thing. That was the last of my astral travels. And for some reason, I stopped having regular dreams too. I was pushing myself to dream, but nothing was happening. The next visiting day, my mom came with my brother. I missed my brother so much. I wished I could open my eyes and see him. The moment I thought that, my brother suddenly screamed, "Mom, he's moving his fingers." Mom got really excited and stared at my hand. Yes, it was very subtle, but I was able to move my fingers. They both began crying from happiness. I was really happy too, but I couldn't show it to them. A few hours later, I heard a familiar voice. Kyle had come too. My mom said, "Kyle, I have the most wonderful news for you. This morning, Ethan moved his fingers on one hand." Kyle said, "Really? That's awesome. Which hand was it? This one?" and touched my hand. The second Kyle's hand touched me, light flashed in my brain. I felt the inside of my skull light up. It was as if there was a movie screening there. First, I saw myself. I was inside the cave. On the wall right in front of me was an ancient cave painting. I was trying to get as close to the wall as possible to take a good photo since it was really dark. But I was being really careful because there was a deep crevasse between me and the wall. Just now, Kyle had said, "Which hand? This one?" and touched my hand. When I was inside the cave, I'd felt a similar hand on my back. That hand had pushed me. I turned my head to look back as I was falling, and I could see Kyle standing there. I was so shocked I couldn't even scream. I fell into the abyss with my eyes wide open. Kyle was my best friend. Why would he do something like this? The moment I remembered my fall was also the moment I opened my eyes. I woke up from my coma. The first thing I saw was Kyle looking at me. He was clearly shocked to see me wake up. My mom and my brother screamed with joy when they saw me. Kyle, on the other hand, ran away. The coma that lasted 23 months ended when Kyle touched my hand. I was finally healthy again. Coma is an extraordinary experience even on its own. But when you throw in astral travel and my attempt at being a detective, the whole thing becomes a full-blown adventure. You know now that it was my best friend, Kyle, who pushed me. Daisy had really started going out with Yael again. But they didn't have anything to do with my fall. I still don't know what the teacher I saw was crying about. But it certainly wasn't about me. It probably had something to do with his personal life. But let's talk about Kyle. Why would someone whom I call my best friend do this to me? Let me explain everything. As I told you earlier, Kyle and I both knew each other's deepest secrets. One of those secrets had to do with how Kyle's stepfather came to amass so much wealth. He owned 2 big cargo ships. One day, Kyle accidentally listened in on a conversation. It turned out that his stepfather was working for the mafia. They were using one of his ships to transport all of their contraband. One day, during an argument with his stepfather, Kyle said, "I'm going to tell the police about your business." The stepfather responded by threatening to hurt Kyle's mom and sister. Then he interrogated Kyle to figure out how much he actually knew. When he found out that Kyle had some crucial information, he asked, "Did you tell anyone else about this?" Kyle ended up giving my name. So his stepfather told him, "You have to make your friend disappear. If you don't, you won't see your mom or your sister ever again." Now you know that Kyle followed that order the first chance he got. I was in a coma for 2 years, but I still think I was lucky. Because Kyle's real intention was worse than putting me in a coma. The police arrested Kyle, and then based on what he told them, his stepfather. Now they are both in jail. I'm sad about losing my best friend, but of course, I think he deserved what he got. If you liked my story, Please don't forget to like the video. Thanks for listening. See you.